Hi everybody, back again with part 2 on the installation of the Mercury wiring harness 4142770. This is the internal wiring harness. Excuse me, I do have some Grizzly pouches in. I'm sponsoring them. Free shout out, Grizzly Wintergreen pouches. So what you guys will see here, again, as we kind of discussed briefly in the last video, is we're going to be replacing this wiring harness here. So essentially we're going to set up a series of how-to videos. This is something we haven't done before either, so this will be a bit of a learning lesson as we go through it. But it should be fairly simple. It came with a series of instructions. Excuse my dog's barking, by the way. For battery type connections, which wires go where. So there's a little bit of research we may have to do in the process, but I'm sure we'll be able to figure this thing out. So let's open her up. Let's see what we've got here. So here's your wiring harness. And this is the set that's going to stretch through the outside of the cowl. And as you can see, where the pin was broken, we can now replace that, which I'm happy about. What I do want to check is, how does it line up in comparison with the others? So realistically, it'll wind up sitting just like this. Boom. On the inside. Which is exactly how the existing one sits. So I think this shouldn't be too bad. Alright. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring this guy back. I'm going to take a look and figure out what these jumpers here are for. Alright. As you can see, you've got yellow with a red stripe, black, almost gray. Take a look what they call it. Another yellow with a red stripe. And it appears that we have a red jumper. Alright. So you can see yellow, red stripe. There's two of them. Yellow, red stripe. There's two of them. They're jumpers for rectifier to stator term block. Alright. Alright. We'll have to figure that out. Red jumper. Red jumper, connect between rectifier positive post and the red terminal on the switch box. Okay. Alright. Alright. So, in which case, let's take a look at what we have over here. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to bring this guy here with us. Help you with a general example of what's there now. So for example, this is the switch box here, and you can see this is the red terminal, okay? Now, just a quick preface, and I want to make sure that everyone's aware of this. Anytime you're working on any electrical equipment, any electrical systems, whether it's AC voltage in a house, whether it's DC in a car or a boat, I highly recommend you disconnect the battery, you make sure that the power is off, you confirm that prior to working on the system. We have done that. There's no power on this system at all right now. You can see that it's not even connected at the pins where power would connect, even if it was, but this is the power cord here, and this is not, this here is not connected to power right now. So again, I highly recommend you make certain of that. So it appears here that this is the wire that they're referring to running down. You can see where the corrosion is. I mean, it's bad, but running down, it looks like it pops out right here and hits this terminal here. I'd like to take the tape off and see where they run these things. So we'll get to that, and I'll make sure I cut this out of the video. But essentially what I want to do here is snip this. Alright, and I got some snips over here. We'll fast forward through all of this stuff. All right, I found some snips, so let's begin. All right, so for the nuts that's holding the wire harness into place, I'm going to show you that now. That's going to be that guy right there, and that guy right there, down there if you can see it, back here. They're going to require a 5/16 socket, okay? As for the negative, you're going to want a 7/16. This is going to be the engine negative or the engine ground. Once those screws are out, it should wiggle until, there There we go. Should pop right through the center. You should be able to pull that clasp up, depending on where it's located, but it looks like I've got some stuff that's in my way, preventing me from doing so. So what I'd recommend is you start with the positive wire on the starter, okay? And the positive wire on the starter, I'm assuming, is going to also be a 7/16. I may be wrong. I am wrong. It's going to be larger than that. I'm going to look at a 1/2 inch. And a 1/2 inch looks like it's the guy. Now, one thing you're going to want to note is that that positive wire is going to go on that side of the terminal on the starter solenoid. You'll see there that that starter solenoid terminal is copper, and you want to make sure that you note that this is going to be the positive side. Alright, this is going to be where your positive line off the wire harness from this 7-pin harness, this is where that positive line is going to connect. Now, just for safety and not having to worry about losing that nut, I'm putting that back on the terminal. The washer and the nut are going back on the terminal. These wires are really badly corroded. They needed to be changed a long time ago. You can see the old harness here. Slightly different than the one I have. We'll have to see how it fits. The new one, maybe we'll go back and reuse the existing one. Not certain yet. One thing I want to note is that we have a series of wires, and they may be those jumpers, but they come off of that same harness. They run up. You can see some of the insulation that attempted to be left. And they run up and they hit this here. Now, I'm not quite certain yet what exactly this is. And I'm in the middle of figuring that out. So we'll follow up on that. But eventually we're going to have to disconnect these in order to get this harness out of here. And I'm just not sure I'm ready to do that yet. So give me a moment. I'm going to go grab the new harness. And see if I can't make out what exactly this is supposed to be. Alright, well, we got good news. I figured this out. Alright, so this here is going to be the stator term block. Okay, and I'm assuming that means that these are the wires that run up to the stator, which I'm assuming is underneath the flywheel. From my research, a stator is essentially the component that stays still while this motor is moving. So I'm assuming that that's what these wires here are, which are also corroded, so it may be worth looking at new stator. But again, I'm not there yet. They are badly corroded. I'm not there yet, though. So it looks like I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these guys. What it looks like is that these are going to be the jumpers. Let me show you here. We have the two yellow and red stripe jumpers for rectifier to stator term block. What I believe is that these two wires here, okay, I believe that these are going to run down. They go into this harness right here. That's these two wires here. They run up the harness, and I believe that they are these two wires here coming out on each side of the rectifier. This here is your positive post on the rectifier, and I can confirm that because, as you can see here, that's got your little positive emblem. So here's your positive post. Your positive post is going to need to connect to the red terminal on the switch box. All right, so we're going to take that red terminal on the switch box, and we're going to jump it down to that positive. We're going to take the red 18 gauge wire built into our harness, and we're going to take that and also take it to the positive side of the rectifier. It says it may not be needed, but we'll see what we got to do there. My only concern is that I don't know where this guy goes. I don't know where this guy goes. And let's see here. Choke solenoid. And that's what we're going to have to figure out here. I think that this here is the choke solenoid. I'm 99% certain this here is the choke solenoid. It is. So this here's the choke solenoid. So that wire needs to come up through here, replace all that corroded shit, come down. All right, so that's helpful. So we know that the gray, the gray is gonna go to that. We know that the orange is not needed. And let me turn this sideways so you guys get the same visual I have. White is going to be 12 volt from key switch. So I'm wondering if that's going to be this white terminal here. I'm going to have to look up what these switch box posts are. I may have to follow up with you on another video. We'll see. Let me see if I can't figure it out. I'm going to go grab the actual harness and see if I can't start piecing this thing together. Alright, so we're back with the harness here. We've got our jumpers, our mount. Let's see if we can't figure this thing out, right? So this guy here is going to go to our engine ground, and this guy here is going to go to the battery side of the starter solenoid, which is this over here. Okay, so these two here are taken care of. Alright. Then we have these two short ones, black and yellow, right? Or I believe this is black, maybe dark gray. See, the problem is this is gray, so I know that this isn't what they're referring to when they say gray. So I'm going to say that this is going to be the, black 18 gauge. So it's going to be the negative terminal and the positive terminal. All right, so that's these two guys over here. That's fine. You can see one of these are already broken off, which looks like the negative side of the terminal. Okay. So I think we've got that figured out. All right. So it covers those. Then we go into these series up here. So you have orange is the next shortest, And orange is going to go to the kill circuit for the ADI, which is not used, and says tape off. Okay. So we're going to not even need orange. All right. The next shortest one is going to be brown. Brown says tachometer signal. See, that's going to be one of those two switches. So that switch box is going to have tachometer, that switch box is going to have the tachometer signal. It's going to have the 12 volt from key switch, which is white. Gray is going to run up to the choke solenoid, which is going to go up to where we just showed you back here, replacing this corroded wire. And what do we have left? We have the red, which is the positive side of the rectifier. So now what we need to do is we need to identify, out of these 3 terminals, because we're aware it's not this one is being jumped over to another side right now, so we'll figure that piece out later. But we know that these 3 are going to come directly from a harness, okay? We know this. So we know for a fact that this red guy right here is going to go to the positive side of the rectifier. We know this, so we're good. We know that one of these 2 is going to be the tachometer signal, and one of these 2 is going to be the kill switch. Not the kill switch, excuse me, the key switch, the 12 volt from key switch. So our next step is to identify which one is which. And what may have to happen is I may have to follow up with another video. Let's grab our paper before it goes blowing all over the place. So I may have to follow up with another video. I'm certainly hoping not, but at this point I can't guarantee that I can figure this out without a quick Google search. Yeah, so it's really unfortunate. So at least we've got this figured out, and it looks like what we'll do is we'll have a part 3 video, unfortunately, that we will go ahead and actually do the work to put this thing together. All right, cool. See you guys soon.